Hi, welcome to the Bitcoin Brew. We are so excited that you're here with us today. But before we get started, we have an important announcement to make. If you haven't already gotten your ticket to the Texas Blockchain Summit, November 17th and 18th in Austin, Texas, go ahead, mark your calendars, get your ticket now. We have a promo code. It is BTC Brew for you, letter U. This is going to be a premier event. You don't want to miss it. Amy and I will be there. The whole Texas blockchain crew will be there. As you know, the Bitcoin Brew is supported by the TBC, an advocacy group for blockchain, crypto, and Bitcoin innovation here in Texas. These opinions are our own, and we are not financial advisors. Please like and subscribe to our channel if you don't mind. This week, more inflation data is expected from the Fed, I guess tomorrow on Thursday. But in other news, good news, you can now buy a burger, I guess courtesy of McDonald's, from McDonald's only in Lugano, Switzerland. We previously talked about them. They're very pro Bitcoin, which obviously I love. So some of the hot topics today include Kim Kardashian, her case, which is kind of sad, but her case at the SEC, they settled it. The Bank of New York Mellon is now into the crypto space. Swift's foray into CBDCs. Ooh, shoot. Last but not least, Google and Coinbase struck a partnership deal that we will continue to hear more about. All right, Amy, let's get started.
Kim Kardashian in the news. And it was all related to crypto. Let me break it down. Kim Kardashian has paid a fine handed down by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission for advertising a crypto asset on her Instagram account without fully disclosing that she was getting paid to do so. The legal action alleged that Kim, Floyd Mayweather Jr., and Paul Pierce collaborated to misleadingly promote and sell Ethereum Max in a pump and dump scheme. Pump and dump, that means something very different than what it means in motherhood. So despite the name, I do want to tell you more about that.
No. Oh, yes. The crypto pump and dump is what you're talking about. Okay, gotcha.
Separate from other pumps and dumps. Oh, and also I did want to have a caveat. This Ethereum Max is not associated with Ethereum.
Oh, okay.
It's like a common problem with cryptocurrency, everything in the space. There's no copyrights. And so a lot of coins sometimes misuse.
Yeah.
I won't say misuse, but use names. Like there's wrapped Bitcoin and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bitcoin Cash. All right, where was I? A pump and dump. When this happens, a group of investors contribute money to an asset to inflate the price before selling to investors. The price action induces other investors to buy heavily, bumping the share price even higher. At any point when the perpetrator feels the buying pressure is ready to fall off, that's when they dump their shares for a big profit. So here's the story. Kim puts a story up on her Instagram page. She does claim it's not financial advice, and she does #addit to protect herself. This is the sort of disclosure that the Federal Trade Commission requires from social media influencers, you know, when they're pushing their beauty products or health supplements. Mm-hmm. And similarly, the SEC is primarily concerned with undisclosed promotion of digital assets that they are working to classify as securities. So she has paid her $1.26 million and has agreed not to promote any crypto asset security for 3 years' time.
I feel like this is a way overreaction. Don't you?
I mean, nobody really knows how much she made. Apparently, she was paid about $250, $350 to put the ad up. Mm-hmm. And I would assume that she profited around 1.26. Like, that is an odd number.
I think it's tough to hear that, like, she was singled out and she had to pay and they got it settled so quickly when there are quite a few men in the space who are also extremely, you know, in the same general like pump and dump. The Celsius CEO recently saw that he cashed out before, obviously Do Kwon did, but they're trying to find him. I guess they found him. It just seems kind of like they targeted her very quickly. Not that maybe she shouldn't have disclosed more information. I don't know.
It's tough. And it also got me wondering, like, that 1.26 million fine, where does that go? And according to what I could find, I just was like, is this like supporting some sort of crypto asset crew that's like hunting people down? It's actually not the case. what they use the money for is to give people who have been scammed or lost money. It kind of goes to a fund to help make them whole again, at least try to.
Oh, interesting. I did see a picture of her recently. She had the BlockFi credit card earrings. Did you see that?
Oh my gosh, no. Was this after this?
I don't know. I mean, it's very recent, so I have to look up and see.
I would hate to see her get in trouble again.
I don't know.
So soon.
It probably was before.
Let's hope so.
Surely.
Kim, keep your nose clean. What are some red flags in pump and dump schemes? What are things that people should look out for?
Probably just doing your research on the coin. Like what, if it's a protocol, who's behind it, who's promoting it. I mean, you would like to think that people have also done the research, but she might not have even known what she was promoting. I mean, who knows? I feel like this is where I go back to like, I'll only recommend Bitcoin unless somebody's willing to do a significant amount of research on a certain token or coin, because you really never know until you like have done a deep dive on it.
And I'll go and research coins, and sometimes like the English isn't like there's grammatical errors.
Yes, oh for sure.
That's a red flag. And you're right. Even if it's a celebrity that you admire, do your due diligence. Don't just jump on it because someone you love likes it.
Yeah, I mean, even Dogecoin, like Elon Musk tweeting about that and promoting it, and Mark Cuban, like, no, do not trust those guys just because they are promoting this coin. Like, you have to do your homework on it. So.
That's good advice. Thank you, Becca.
Say the same thing every time. Okay, so BNY Mellon is short for the Bank of New York Mellon, one of the oldest banks around. And they just announced that they are now getting into the crypto space by being able to custody digital assets. So they're willing to hold your keys, kind of take on some of that risk. And this isn't just any old bank. BNY has been around for over 200 years and has over 50,000 employees. They invest trillions and trillions of dollars every year. So they are like big time. They have more than secured their reputation in the space. They focus on, this is from their website, investment management and investment services that help individuals and institutions to invest and conduct business and transact in markets all over the world. So they're a really big deal. Sounds like a perfect match for Bitcoin and digital assets. The bank did say they are currently only holding ETH and or Bitcoin at this time. So playing it safe, which I appreciate. I think that's great. Back in February, BNY announced that they were starting to work with Chainalysis, which is a blockchain company focused on working with large corporations to kind of take some of that risk of the nuance of holding keys and securing Bitcoin and ETH, like all those little things that just your traditional bank would really have no idea about. Chainalysis, their main focus is to create an environment for mass adoption to happen. BNY also has a reputation of being on the cutting edge of technology and markets. So this is really a huge step forward for big investors to feel safe holding their own keys and obviously employing BNY, Chainalysis to help make big moves in the space. I think overall this is going to really help with just creating more adoption, getting big players into the game. And this decision comes at an interesting time because the crypto markets are super down right now. But customer demand is higher than it's ever been. And so I think this is a really good starting point for them to get on board with. The announcement really speaks for itself in that Bitcoin is here to stay. And ETH too, I guess.
Probably. New York. It's an interesting state for all of this to be happening because what we heard last week is there's an impending moratorium for mining. I think this is a good thing. I think New York needed a positive swing for cryptocurrency, and hopefully this will be just that.
Yeah, I had the same thought in that I'm glad it's happening in New York. Hopefully it will kind of have a wave of a positive impact.
Have you heard the saying that banks are trying to become crypto companies and crypto companies are trying to become banks?
It's so true. I haven't heard that.
That seems to be a lot of the case. We see a lot of these mergers and partnerships to help with mass adoption, which, as we've said all the time, we're extremely supportive of and excited about.
Yeah, definitely.
Swift, a Belgium-based financial messaging system operating in over 200 countries and thousands of banks and funds, has been quietly conducting an 8-month experiment studying the technology and currencies around the world to analyze how a global central bank digital currency, also known as a CBDC, can be used internationally and converted into fiat as needed. A CBDC is a digital token issued by a central bank that is pegged to that nation's currency. And there are two forms I learned: wholesale and retail. Retail CBDs are used by individuals to pay other individuals and retailers, like the stores, and they are token-based, where the users validate with keys, both private and public, providing anonymity. I have a hard time saying that word. Account-based CBDCs require digital identification and are secured in an account. The wholesale CBDs, on the other side, are used more for your larger financial institutions for settling interbank payments and transactions similar to electronic bank reserves held at the central bank. So according to Reuters, 90% of banks are either using, trialing, or studying CBDs in fear that they will be left behind in the wake of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. They're grappling with distributed ledger technology that can support all of this, as well as protecting the privacy and security of users. And we've seen several countries adopt CBDCs: Bahamas, Nigeria, Jamaica, China, among others. And as we brought you a few weeks back, the United States is in the process of conducting a series of reports that analyze to see if the U.S. infrastructure could support a central bank digital currency here under the Biden administration. Now, you've told me in the past CBDCs are a necessary evil. Will you explain that?
I think it's kind of inevitable. I don't think they're going to be stopped. I mean, you just had a great conversation with Natalie, so I can't wait to listen to that and kind of hear her take on it because she's done so much more research on it. But my very zoomed out opinion on it would just be that it is an incredible technology and it's like almost too good to be avoided by big governments. So I think it will happen. I think where like the hang up is for me though, is that if it depends as to what level they take it, obviously you can have like intergovernmental, use of a CBDC, and like maybe that would speed up a lot of like the slowness of transactions that we see now. I mean, it could be really positive, but if it's going to be an overreaching, like every single thing you buy on your credit card, or I mean, it could, whatever it will be, like that's way too much control. It's someone, leaning over your shoulder, like watching every single thing that you do, and they could cut it off in any second, or, close out companies or whatever. And I just think that is a little bit too far reaching for the United States. I know that other countries, that's how it is all the time now, without a CBDC. So I'm not saying that's like, oh, it's our, human right. I just think that America hasn't, that is not an American ideal.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
So I don't know.
And it seems like we can accomplish the same thing that a CBDC would do using Bitcoin and stable coins.
Yes. I totally agree.
Giving up our, identity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I mean, but they're happening right and left. So I don't know. It's going to be very tricky.
I mean, I wonder if the U.S. will be an outlier and be one of the countries that does not adopt a CBDC.
I think that's where it goes back to voting pro-Bitcoin over almost anything else right now, because it's such a philosophy of ideas that trickle down to, social issues or monetary policy, all those different things. I think the best thing that you could do for human growth and overall status of, human thriving is to vote pro-Bitcoin. So it's more than just like, oh, F the government. Like, no, that's not how I feel. I think it's literally for like the children in your community, vote pro-Bitcoin. Okay. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. So last but not least, okay. So quick caveat. Did you know that there is a documentary on Amazon called Coin, and it's all about Brian Armstrong, the founder of Coinbase?
I didn't think it was getting released until tomorrow.
Okay, well, it's out apparently because I watched it last night.
How was it?
It's really good. I would definitely recommend it. It kind of like softened my perspective on Coinbase. Previously, I've had a very like negative view because I just don't feel like they grew too fast to have good customer service, which I still feel like they did, but it's not really their fault. It's really just like the market. They did a really good job of building a company and they had a lot of people want to use it. So I think they still have a lot of kinks to work out, but the documentary was really good. Makes you like Brian Armstrong as a person. So, all right. So we're going to talk about them. And this is how I feel about Google and Coinbase working together. Okay. Google has been looking for ways to get into the space for quite a while now, into the cryptocurrency space. And this is what they came up with, is that they can charge users to pay for cloud services with Bitcoin or ETH. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. That's like very entry level. I like that. It's clear that Google and Coinbase both have a lot to gain from partnering on this. Obviously, two massive companies. Coinbase disclosed that they are moving some of their web hosting from AWS to Google, which is funny because Amazon made the documentary and now they're like, oh, we're going to Google. Anyway, so with Coinbase's recent history of financial troubles, I'm kind of surprised that this is who they went with just going forward. But it makes sense in the broad mainstream kind of a way. I think they're targeting users who really have never invested in any type of crypto. But if you're like, hey, $2 here, $3 here, it's not, they're just gonna be like, oh, this is what we do now. Kind of a slow entry. This does send up a bit of a red flag for me though. As always, I'm always the pessimist. Google, which is kind of a big brother type of company, already has so much information on us, right?
Oh.
I mean, Google Maps alone, much less everything else. So I think I'm just a little bit like hesitant in that, originally Bitcoin is like, oh, like not heavy security, all that. It's freedom, free money. And so now that Coinbase has not only done Bitcoin, but they've hosted like 20,000, not 20,000, but probably over 10,000 different coins. I think they're like into the big player space now of like, I don't know where they're headed. I don't know what their end goal is here. So it's just, I think, potentially a little bit of a red flag there using Coinbase. I mean, I don't know how you don't use Google though.
It's hard to get around not using Google.
Yes. I think maybe Google should have just launched their own coin. That could have been cool. But anyway, here we are.
I wonder if in making those, that would kind of be a micro payment, right? The cloud services. Mm-hmm. I wonder if they incentivize people to use their cryptocurrency and give them a slightly less charge.
Oh, true. Yeah.
We saw that with, who did we see do that? It's been months ago that we talked about it, but
I know Bitcoin Miami does it, but I don't know if anybody else.
Maybe it was
I can't remember. Oh,
yes.
Also I learned yesterday is that Elon Musk helped found PayPal.
I had no idea.
I know. I didn't either.
And is he going to buy Twitter? Is that a done deal?
The last I heard is that they are making him buy it.
Oh, they're making him
because he had already like gotten too far into the process. I don't know.
Yikes!
I know.
And supposedly that's going to get converted into sort of a payment system.
Yeah, which kind of already is. Like you can tip people and have your crypto on there and stuff.
I'm new to Twitter, so yeah, I don't know all the ins and outs yet.
Well, I don't either. Thank you so much for watching, and we can't wait to see you at the summit.
Hey, thanks for watching. The Texas Blockchain Council has more good videos where that came from, and we'd also love you to subscribe. We'll see you in November at the summit.